Hey guys, this is Steven Chung, and today let's talk about 3096 Days. Not the movie, the documentary. In case you don't know what this documentary is about, it's basically a 10-year-old Austrian girl, Natascha Kampusch, who got kidnapped and adopted for over 8 years by a man called Wolfgang Procopio. Now, in this documentary, they actually interview her point of view during the kidnapping days, and also her relatives and also the friends of the kidnapper's point of view. This news actually got so famous in 2006, they decided to make a movie in 2013. Now, without further ado, let's start watching the video.
Österreich 1.
Since yesterday evening, a 10-year-old girl has been missing in Vienna's Donaustadt district. Natascha wears glasses, she's 1 meter 45 tall, has light brown hair with a fringe and blue eyes. She's been missing for more than 34 hours. All efforts to locate her have been unsuccessful, and the police are widening their search.
My mother always said, never part after an argument, because something could happen to one of us, and we'd never see each other again. And then it happened.
In die Schule ging sie sehr selten alleine.
She rarely went to school alone,
Yeah.
but on that particular day she did. I watched her from the window as she left and walked towards the shopping center. Then she disappeared. And that was it.
Da ist sie halt verschwunden und das war's.
Alright, to start off, I think it's a very good beginning because it actually gives us an insight, the audience, the visual of what we are expecting inside Natascha's daily life before the kidnapping itself, such as how she got involved with an argument with her mother, probably shows that she had a bad relationship with the mother itself, and then that's why she's going to school herself and she was walking instead of using the mother's car to go to school as usual, but not that day, of course, and where she lives by showing us the view of things. So it gives the audience a visual of what it looks like. What we're trying to understand is that, oh, this is her daily lifestyle, this is the things she do, and of course how the kidnapper got involved in the case itself. Like how did he jump in? It's because of the argument. That means we know that the things that she been through and things like that. So yeah, that's a pretty good one.
I just sat there and counted to myself up to 21 seconds, and then to 60, and on, so I knew roughly how long I had been there. But at some point I lost track. That first day he brought me a mattress. It was just 5 centimeters thick and made of foam rubber. I only had the same blue blanket to cover me, and I had to use my jacket as a pillow. I wanted to keep my dress on, day and night. I didn't want to give up anything or reveal anything about myself.
That's
He'd
smart.
taken away my school bag, and he burned my shoes in the first few days. He said I wouldn't need them.
So imagine you just burn her shoes and then be like, yeah, you don't need that. But anyway, I want to talk about that scene itself because in that scene, right, during the interview inside the crew itself, I kind of get what the interview crew is trying to do. That she's trying to ask Natascha to visualize what happened that day, and I believe that Natascha herself remembered that scene very clearly since she'd been living there for almost 8.5 years. And the way I see it, right, I feel like it's gonna be very hard for Natascha herself to talk about the scene, because trying to remember something that is horrible to you is definitely gonna be hard. But it's also crucial for the interview crew to get as much information as possible. But they have to make sure that Natascha and the interview crew doesn't go too far. Maybe there are things that Natascha is trying to hide that maybe she don't want to say it to public, and there's also things that the interview crew should prevent, so make sure it doesn't get too overboard in stuff. Imagine you having a bad experience in a place, right, and then the interviewer just tells you like, alright, I want you to visualize it and tell me what do you think it is. But it's amazing that they have a line between there of like seriousness and also a holding back of what actually happens in there, which I think is good for the audience to know what is going on, because he's also showing the cutscenes and all.
And then he installed an intercom system so I could communicate with him. I couldn't tell if it was day or night because my inner clock had...
I don't know, is it just me, or I feel like when they were filming, when they were shooting in this scene, right, the basement scene I want to talk about, is that I feel like they are trying to make it as uncomfortable as possible, but I feel like it's not a very good shot in there, because first off, it's a small basement, okay, it's very hard to move around. So by moving around, I get that they're trying to give it an uncomfortable feeling to the audience, but maybe they can just use shots that was taken by the police, like how police would take in a crime scene. So it's basically like just shots and shots, so it give a more serious situation, knowing that this is actually a crime scene.
I remember that Herr Priklopil asked me once, before the kidnapping, when we were renovating a flat, how one could effectively install sound insulation to reduce the noise of a hammer drill. I told him that cement is a good insulation against voices, but rock wool would be the best thing to suppress the sound of a hammer drill.
Alright.
Dieses Schlagbohrmaschinengeräusch unterbinden kann. Mit den Sätzen stellte ich dann fest,
I was horrified to discover from the police investigations that he used exactly this information to build the cell.
des Verlieses verwendet hat.
It's crazy to think that how much you don't know about one person, even though you thought you know everything about him. In fact, like if you watch a lot of kind of documentaries, they always ask about their friends and then to give a different standpoint, and they will be like, oh, I never expect him to do that, or things like that. And it's a great way to give the audience a better understanding of a subject through the different perspective. So like if you see things like Prokopil's friend, he's like, oh, I never expect him to use this kind of information to do something so sinister, and things like that. Yeah.
Why can't I manage without food?
Auskommen. Hat einfach alles, was mir zum Essen.
He would show me all the food there was before he gave me anything.
Alright, I think I need to give some context here. So what I want to say is that, so basically this is the house of the kidnapper, but more specifically it's the kidnapper's mom's house, and that's where he did all the kidnapping. Can you imagine like going, like when they were filming this documentary, you have to go to the owner of the house, who is the kidnapper's mom, and ask for permission to film a documentary of a crime that your son is involved. Like, damn, props to them, man. Giving us such a giving the audience such a detailed insight of what it looks like, because this is actually a scene from the kidnapping. Like if you follow the movie, they actually followed this detail by detail, and that's amazing.
The private detective cooked up a theory that I was having an affair with a businessman and Natascha was in the way. So we murdered her and buried her in a pond he owned.
Haben wir sie vergraben. Und da hat
And the detective kept on at the police about digging there until they agreed. And of course, they found nothing.
nichts ergeben.
Of course. What the heck? I feel like in a way, right, this kind of reminds me of a case in Australia where the mother's child actually got killed by coyotes, but everyone accused the mother did it, like kill the child instead of the coyotes. Like, can you imagine, like your child is gone, but then people accusing you who did it, and that's gonna be hard on the mother itself. Which I always thought that how media try to change the story based on what they think it's right, or what their audience want to hear, which is something that is not ethical, of course, from based on a media standpoint. What the?
Später hat sich dann das
Sometime later, the Vienna City Council offered their help. They said something I shall never forget to this day.
Wait, what? What? I don't get. What's the shot for? Like, I mean, I know they're trying to make a mock-up, but I don't quite get it because the mother was talking about Vienna City Council, right? Wouldn't it make more sense if you show a scene of the council itself instead of some kind of coffee with a cigarette and a blur background? What the heck are they doing? Yeah, I think they should just put a Vienna City Council instead, right? Because before that, the daughter was talking about how the character of the kidnapper is, right? But now they were showing some kind of coffee maker, so it doesn't make sense.
The first few years I baked a cake for Natascha on her birthday and chucked it away after a couple of weeks. But I always tried to keep Natascha alive in my mind, to include her wherever she was. I tried to let her know somehow, maybe by telepathy, that I was thinking of her.
On my birthday, I always remembered all the birthdays I had celebrated with lots of other kids and with a special cake.
Eben einer speziellen Torte und
And how different it is now, all alone in the cell.
ganz alleine.
This part is pretty cool if you ask me, because like it's a very simple cut between the mother and the daughter, but it really shows the connection between them. Like you can see how the mother talks about the cake and things like that, and then the documentary crew actually try to relate that part where the daughter also talks about the cake thing and like how she celebrated and how now it's so much different because of Prokopil being involved in the kidnapping and things like that. So yeah, I think more documentaries should always do things like relation between this thing and then slowly transition into another thing. It can be just a simple cut or things like that, but I think it can be it can connect the audience emotionally, like showing things that have relation and things like that.
And we'd be out in his van, and I wasn't allowed to speak to anyone.
Whoa.
He said he'd kill anyone I spoke to, or he'd kill me and anyone who'd seen me.
Und die Leute, die
That's
mich
terrible.
gesehen haben.
It was hopeless.
Es war dann einfach aussichtslos.
I kind of want to talk about this scene because like she was talking about how she's in out of the van, right? And I really like that shot because like it's all blurry and somewhat tilted. It's something like give people a very car-sick feeling, and it actually portrays what she's feeling when she's in the van itself. So it's like her point of view of being outside for the first time and in a public area for the first time in a while. So it makes sense to be like that, and I think it's really well done that they're trying to relate the audience on her point of view and things like that. So I say that's a really good shot if you ask me.
The press asked me straight out whether I was raped or sexually abused and that kind of thing.
What the fuck
But
is
in
wrong
my
with
eyes,
media?
the way the media treated me after my escape is a form of abuse too, and they should be punished for it.
Und sollte auch bestraft werden.
I feel like it's really crazy and interesting at the same time about what she just said. Sometimes the media tends to exaggerate things like from the original topic, like saying just something that the audience want to hear and things like that, like how Natascha wants to send out a message about the society, things like that, but the media started just like bombarded her with sensitive questions like hey, did you got raped and did you got this and that, like just after she got released from the kidnappers, and these are all the things she got instead of how are you and things like that. And it really changes how she see the media and people in general. She would just say like this is all very abusive and it should be punished as well. So yeah, sad, man.
Ich wünschte mir,
I just want people to treat me normally.
Umgang mit mir haben. Ich hab mir auch eine
I deserve a chance like anyone else. I think people should be glad I halfway survived all this.
Yeah, everyone deserves a chance. And that's the end of everything. So all in all, I think that this whole documentary is very interesting. It's very insightful. It tells a lot of things, but at some point it can be quite uncomfortable. They should be more a direct shot would be nice, you know. Sometimes they just show just the face because they want to show the emotions, but I think they can do better in maybe showing a medium shot and all, like how the way she sits, because in a way you can also see body language is also very important, especially when it comes to someone who have just survived in a traumatic experience and things like that. Yeah. And also sometimes I feel like they give too much information at some point, like some kind of the friend, like the part I say about the friend part, that part I think it should just be taken out because it's too personal in a way. I feel like it's gonna affect the viewers on YouTube who thinks of what they think about the friend and all. So yeah, but overall it's a very good documentary, and I recommend watching the movie as well, because the movie, if you watch the movie, you're gonna get a better insight of what they are trying to talk about in the documentary. So yeah, so that's all from me. I hope you guys like it. If you do, please like and subscribe, and yeah, so yep, have a nice day and have a fun day. Bye.